This was the chart. I've converted it into a PDF, done with the help. I mean, Rohini did it with my help. So it was interesting working on this through Google Docs, because she basically created the document, shared it with me, and there is a mode of sharing the document which is called suggestion mode. So whatever edits that I made on the document will be given as a suggestion to the original author, in this case Rohini, and then she has an option to accept the suggestion or not. And if she accepts the suggestion, then I get a message that she has accepted the suggestion and she made the changes, and then I had another look at it, gave a few more comments, and between 2 or 3 such exchanges we managed to create this form. The interesting thing about this is that all the relevant information, or almost all the relevant information that you would like to have, is there on this chart. So you have gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible, and so on, their relevant wavelengths. Part of doing this job would sort of make it clear to you as you're writing stuff down, because in the textbook, I think originally it was given in terms of nanometers. So you need to convert it into angstroms, or there may be another chart that gives it in angstroms. But in any case, transferring the data from one form to another and putting it and presenting it in a certain fashion definitely has its advantages in terms of it working into our minds and getting stored as reproducible memories. So that was the sort of intention of giving this particular assignment. So for all those who haven't done it yet, please go ahead and give it a shot. If you have your
Sir,
own personalized, yes.
Chaitanya is locked out.
Chaitanya
And
is logged
Kian.
out, and Kyan. Okay, I'm just going to hop to that and let them in. So first I have to unlock the meeting, and then I have to, yeah, could you just ask them to now try? So I've unlocked the meeting, and I've also disabled the waiting room process, so they should be able to hop in directly. Yeah, that's one. And shortly the other. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about it. I've had a look at the wavelength part of it, and also a quick look at the properties and their uses. I haven't looked closely at the frequency in terms of hertz, but I suppose that it is correct. Now, if you want to have a copy of this, please write to Rohini. She can decide whether to share it with you or not. So with that, we come to an end of that one. And since it doesn't seem like anybody has any questions regarding the exercise 6B, I suppose we could carry on with the scattering of light. Incidentally, did anybody have a chance to look at the Walter Lewin video as suggested by me? Did anybody manage to do that? No, not even a single person.
I actually read about the lecture in his book For the Love of Physics.
You read about the lecture? Where?
Yeah.
What do you mean you read about the lecture?
So he has his book now, and the Love of Physics. For the Love of Physics.
For the love of physics. Okay, okay.
So he talks about scattering of light and his experiment with a cigarette butt in a
Yeah. He does that in that. Yeah, that's. So see, actually, the crux of that talk, that particular lecture, is actually polarization of light. Just a moment. There's some issue over here about the waiting room. Well, actually, what I have done now is I have disabled the waiting room business, and I have unlocked the meeting. So as far as I can see, there aren't any. Ami is in. Yeah, yeah. I think they just got in, so no need to worry. There are 41 participants, so everybody is in. Rudra, are you in? Yeah, Rudra is in. Ami, are you also in? Can you just send a message or say yeah or wave or something? Suresh, I suppose, is Shravan. Okay. I just wanted to know if Ami is on. Ami is in. I can't make out whether she is coming or not, but I suppose she has. If there is an issue, let me know. Okay, so as I was saying, the video that I had suggested was actually primarily about polarization of light, which is a very interesting topic. And in polarization, he talks in terms of scattering of light. It so happens that the scattering of light in the atmosphere, the phenomena that we are studying, also happens to strongly polarize the light. And I don't want to go into what is polarization of light. It's a very interesting phenomena. Maybe I can talk to some of you who are interested about that at some other point of time. So let's just go back and talk about the scattering. This shouldn't take a lot of time, and strictly speaking, with this, we are actually going to be done with the syllabus, at least as far as light is concerned. So if I remember right, the other day, I'll just, the door is open. Let me just close the door. The other day, I kind of left off at this phenomena of scattering of light. Where I was saying that wavelengths of white light incident upon the atmosphere of the earth interacts with particles, and depending upon the size of the particle, a variety of things can occur. One of those things is scattering of light. Now, I remember saying that these different colors of light, uh, when they come into the atmosphere, let's just take blue and red. Okay, the blue is the one that scatters the most, and the red is the one that scatters the least. So we'll talk about that, these two particles. So when these wavelengths come upon particles in the atmosphere, okay, um, if the size of these particles are of a specific range, I think we are talking in terms of something like about 1/10 of a micrometer. Okay, so 1/10 of 10 power minus 6 meters. So we are talking about particles at about that range. With particles larger than that, there will be no scattering effect, and we'll come to that also shortly. But what happens when these wavelengths hit those particles is that a scatter effect takes place. The real reason behind this, is very hard to explain without talking in terms of quantum mechanics. Apparently, Professor Lewin gives us a very simple vector-based reasoning for what actually happens, and he himself later in the video says that argument is not quite correct argument, but it will suffice for our reasons. But basically what happens is the degree to which these light gets deflected in different directions depends upon their wavelength, and this is what we need to know. So the intensity of the scattered light depends upon, as I said the other day, the inverse proportionality to the fourth power of the wavelength. Okay, so as the wavelength decreases, the intensity reduces. As the wavelength increases, the intensity decreases. Intensity means the intensity of scatter. Okay, and for reasons that we really can't go into now, the probability, so we talk in terms of the probability of light intensity being scattered at uh, almost 90 degrees. So the angle is like this, the scattering to be almost 90 degrees or close to 90 degrees, either like this or like this, is way greater therefore for blue light than for red light. Okay, red light may get scattered somewhere like that, or may even pass through without much of a scatter. The reason apparently has got to do with the fact that the electrons of these particles can also get excited because of the incoming radiation, and when that happens, those electrons start accelerating about a certain direction. We can't understand about these directions unless we talk a little bit in terms of polarization of light. So since it's not part of our syllabus, polarization, since it's not part of our syllabus, I won't go into it. It's a very interesting area. See, your polarizing sunglasses that people buy when you go for the Himalayan trek, we sometimes suggest that you bring with you polarizing sunglasses, and polarized sunglasses or polarizing sunglasses. And basically what that does is it cuts the intensity of the amount of light that is coming from you. And because there is snow in the higher ranges, you go anywhere above 2500 or so meters, you are going to encounter snow, or maybe even lower than that. And the reflection of the light from the snow can actually cause blindness, temporary blindness. With prolonged exposure, you could even get permanent blindness. So in order to avoid that from happening, keeping the pupils dilated all the time, which puts stress on your muscles, so it causes inflammation. So in order to avoid that, we suggest that people wear polarizing glasses. So that works by this principle. But we are not talking about polarization, we are talking about scattering of light. Now, what has this got to do with the color of the sky being blue? Well, as it turns out, everything to do with it. So let's look at this phenomena. So we are trying to look at 2 or 3 different things. Scattering of light explains why sky is blue, why sunsets are red, and why clouds are white. So these are the kinds of questions that get answered as a result of one single phenomena. Say you're on the surface of Earth, as it curves like that, okay, and you are somewhere here. Okay, are you able to see this? Right. So you have light coming in, let's say from this direction. Okay, I'm just going to show them as parallel rays of light. Okay. Now, as they are passing through the upper atmosphere, the particulate matter that is there is going to interfere and cause scattering. Okay. Now, which is the color that is going to get scattered the most in the angle at which we are on Earth, right? So obviously it's going to be the blue. So there's going to be scatter coming like this. There's going to be scatter from this that's coming like this. There's going to be scatter from here coming like this. So what happens, and of course the scatter also goes like this, but we are not interested in those because we are not up there. But what happens as a result of this is that against the dark background, right, if you are up here and you look downwards, of course you will see the Earth, right? Where there is no color, that is in the oceans, right, you will see the blue color. Okay, that is why from space, when you look, or from the air, when you look, water bodies appear to be blue because of the scatter that's going in that direction. But for people down here now, what you're going to see is you're going to see the blue sky. If you're looking upwards, you see the blue sky and you write poetry about it. So one way that you can, so you might ask, what about the other colors? Why don't we see the other colors? I'm not sure I have a good explanation of why you don't see, say for example, violet light, right? So because there is purple, it's one of the other colors, right? I'm not sure if blue just happens to be the right wavelength that creates scatter to the extent that it does. So we can see it. It might be something that is unique to our planet, unique to our development in terms of our vision development and so on, because of which we see the blues and not so much the purples. Okay, so because you may say that, well, if wavelength and scatter are so well related, shouldn't we be seeing purples more than blues, because they would be scattering even more? Well, it so turns out that we obviously don't see the purple sky, thank God, and we see a blue sky. We don't even see a green sky. But what you can do is you can also look certain allied phenomena that takes place, which is that you can try and see which part of the sky is the bluest. Okay, so is it uniform blue? The sky I'm talking about. Okay, and no, it will not be. The sky will be the bluest 90 degrees to the propagation of sunlight. So the sunlight is coming in like this, right? So the sky, if you look over here in this direction, if this is you, right, you look in this direction, it's not going to appear as blue. Obviously, if you look straight into the sun, there's going to be a region of white around the sun. And then the blues start increasing as you look in this angle, until when you come to perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So you look in this direction, the sky appears bluest in this. And then you go more towards the horizon, you will again start seeing the blue becoming less deep. I suggest you have a look at this. You go in the afternoon or just after the class gets over, if you are free, you go up there and you try to see if that is true. Okay, so now we come to the next phenomena. Why sunsets are red? Well, obviously what happens is that when it's sunset, the sun is come way down, closer to the horizon. Okay, the sun hasn't come down. In fact, the earth has rotated. But as a result of it, the direction in which the sunlight is coming has changed. Okay, so there is this atmospheric zone, right? And your sunlight is now coming from here. I'll go again with the black. Now what has happened? Well, what has happened now is that because these rays of light have passed through so much more of the atmosphere's thickness than when they had to do it here, right? In the afternoon, the atmospheric thickness that it has to travel through is way lesser than when it does early in the morning or late in the evening. Okay, so because of which all the blues are gone. The blues are out, most of it at least. Okay, so people out here for whom it is still earlier in the day, they are going to continue seeing the blue sky. But what about us? What about you over here? Well, the blues are gone. So what's left are, of course, the reds and the oranges, right? So if the blues are gone out of these, then what you're going to be left with is the reds and the oranges. Well, I'm going to put both. Okay, so if the leftover color from the sun is going to be reds and oranges, and you're looking at the sun, then obviously you're going to see the oranges and the reds, right? So when you're looking at the sun right now, in the evening, you can remember all the astachals that we are having. The sun would appear to be red. And if there happens to be clouds out here, as it often does, right, then those clouds would also, because of the red light falling on it, the orange lights falling on it, they'd appear reds and oranges. Okay, so you get all this beautiful atmospheric effect of oranges and reds because of scattering, because most of the other colors have disappeared. All right, and as the earth turns away and the thickness of the atmosphere through which the light passes continuously changes, you will see that the color also continuously changes, and that is why you have spectacular sunrises and sunsets. These sunrises and sunsets, of course, can also become even more spectacular if there were some volcanic explosion, say for example. It did happen sometime in the past that there was an Indonesian volcano called the Krakatoa, and when the Krakatoa exploded, I think it was sometime during the 50s, if I'm not mistaken, the last Krakatoa explosion. It threw up so much particulate matter into the atmosphere that for a month or so after that, there was amazing sunrises and sunsets around the world. Unfortunately, the same thing also happened when huge amounts of rainforests were being burnt in the Southeast Asian region for Thailand and so on, where they grow a lot of palm oil. So they have been destroying these rainforests to grow palm oil for our consumption. That the amount of smoke that was being thrown into the atmosphere created spectacular sunsets for a very long time. The Icelandic explosion that took place in 2009-10, I'm not sure. Even at that time, the same situation happened. So we know now why sunrises, sunsets are red. We know why the sky is blue, and the clouds, why they are white. Well, clouds are actually conglomerations of particles, agglomeration of water molecules, and their sizes, of course, becomes much greater than 1/10 of a micrometer. So if your particle size has become much greater than 1/10 of a micrometer, then of course there is no particular preference for any wavelength of light to scatter. So when there isn't any particular preference, all the wavelengths are scattered. So if all the light is scattered, if all the light is reflected basically from clouds, well, you're just going to see white clouds. That leaves us with the question then, during the monsoon, during the rains, why do clouds appear gray? Okay. What is Saumitri whining for?
Not getting the homework.
Saumitri didn't get homework.
The
Well,
mail about the homework.
somebody just put together the list of all the pending work, all the work that was given from 5B or 5C, wherever we started, all the way up to the last one. Put it in a list and kindly send it to everybody, so everybody can make sure that you are up to date. Well, anyway, so that also clears this part.
Not like that, sir.
As
You have
to
to,
why clouds are white. Sorry, what?
the mail you sent, it does not include.
Yeah, I didn't, like a lot of people didn't get it.
Didn't get what?
The
mail.
for the homework.
Which homework?
6B.
6A and 6B.
Didn't get it means what?
We didn't receive it. Like, I don't think we were sent the mail.
Yeah, there were only 21 people in the CC list or whatever.
It wasn't everybody on the list, was it?
Yeah, a lot of people weren't on the list. Almost half the batch.
Yeah, but I had also written it on the whiteboard for 6B. I don't remember if I did the same for 6C. Well,
Oh, so you
don't
did
do it.
only for
Don't.
6A.
Yes, but I don't want to hear any excuses. At least some people in the group have it. You are all in touch with yourselves, with each other for all sorts of things. Might as well make it work for your assignments. I am not going to do anything more now. I have given it in the group. I have sent it by email. If you haven't received it, I have spoken about it. I have asked at the beginning of every class. So I expect that you people should now make an effort. You can't tell me, well, I didn't get it. You didn't give it to me, so we didn't get it. If you didn't do it, it's your funeral. It's not mine. So that's up to you now. I'm going to definitely check if the assignments are completed at the end of the vacation. You better be done with it. Okay, so we can stop here. I guess we have covered all the aspects that I want to cover. Going back to the textbook, scattering of light, application of scattering of light, red color of sun at sunrise and sunset, done. White color of sky at noon, yes, done. White color, it won't be white, but if you look around the sun, you will find that the blue actually more or less completely disappears. So there's a kind of an halo of no light around the sun. Then blue color of sky, done. Black color of sky in the absence of atmosphere. Well, if the atmosphere were not there, then there will be no scattering of light. And if there is no scattering of light, the background will be inky black, except for, of course, the stars and other planets which are reflecting light. White color of clouds, yes, and use of red color for the danger signal. Well, the reason why we use red color for danger signals, traffic lights, and even on top of high-rise buildings, you have this red color light, which is kind of like something to warn aircrafts and so on that there is a tall structure there. The reason is, of course, because of scatter. Because otherwise, green is the one which we have more amount of optic receivers in our eyes for. Okay? Evolutionarily, we are more prone to see green easily, but that is not what happens because of the scattering of light. So we use in general red color. So exercise 6C is also now handed out. There are 13 questions, and I'll permit you to select something like 8 and 2 multiple choice questions. I'll send you an email about it. If some people's names are missing in that, please complete that in. So I'll stop now. With that, we come to the end of this section on light, and we'll see now where this goes. There are about 30 seconds left, so maybe I'll stop